Welcome, everyone, to episode 76 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Penteloresco. I write stuff and podcasts too. And I'm also a publicist, so let me do this real quick. Chris Mars' current release is Intersections. She's part of an anthology that deals with Ouija boards and more horrific fun stuff that comes with it. You should check it out right now. It's available on Amazon and wherever books and ebooks are sold. My other client, Craig DeLuey, has released Battle Chasers as an ebook. You can get it at Amazon.com or any other place ebooks are sold. It is really good. It is Horatio Hornblower and Submarines, and this is the third book of the series, the other two being Crash Dive and Silent Running. Check them out. Alright, let's get on to the show. So my guest today is Randy McCharles. Randy is really a pillar of the Calgary writing community. I think part of the reason everybody gets along as well as we do is because of Randy. Randy sets a tone that is very friendly, approachable. I mean, he puts up with my rambling all the time, so I mean, there's obviously, he's a good dude, and legit, he's a really good dude. I remember actually When Words Collide. There's an open mic night. Vanessa Cardaway, who, by the way, thank you very much. Vanessa Cardaway runs it every year, and she makes everybody go up and perform. I murdered a song. Like, I literally killed a song on stage. Bono would be spinning in his grave. I still hadn't found what I'm looking for. Was the song, by the way. And then he comes up afterwards, and he just kills it. And I just had that thought right then and there. He should be thanked more than he is. Randy's an accomplished writer. He's an amazing event organizer. When Words Collide is probably the best convention I do every year. It is a great show. It is well planned, well formatted, well organized. I'm hoping to do a couple panels this year. I just submitted a second panel literally today. Hopefully it's not too late, because it would be a lot of fun to do. Beyond that, I'm nearly done my second book in 2 months this year, which is really, really rarely. I'm kind of half lying, but I had 3 books planned to release, and 2 of them are just about ready to go, which is not bad for like 2 months into the year. Yeah, I'm really, really excited. I get to talk to my artists about that next week. Get to put the rest of the series into beta read phase. Parts 1 and 2 are being beta read right now. It's 6 parts. 5 are fully written. I'm on the 6th. It's bigger than I thought, but awesome. Like, really, really, really good stuff. I'm having a blast. It is everything I enjoy in fiction. It is wonder. It is deep thought. It is action. And it's just the kind of book that I just like to read. So hopefully when it comes out, it'll be out in the springtime. In some form, The Cloud Divers, the book I'm talking about here, you guys will take a look and check it out, because I'm really proud of it. But I'm going to go back to Randy. Amazing writer. You guys should check out Much Ado About Macbeth. Probably one of my favorite stories about Shakespeare I've ever read. Love The Three Witches. It makes me eat. I'm just warning you guys right now. If you go on that, read that book, you will crave Dairy Queen. You just will. It's one of those rules of thumb. He put Dairy Queen in there in a very, very fun way. Seriously, Dairy Queen should pay him royalties, because I guarantee if you eat it, you're gonna want something on that menu. You just will. Just the way it is. All right, I'm gonna head on out. I'll be back with Randy after these messages. Called A Familiar Story Told in a Brand New Way, The Watcher is about a slave boy who kills his dragon masters and goes into a post-apocalyptic wasteland, discovering that there's more to life than being a slave. The Watcher is book 1 of the Watcher saga, which has book 2, Storm Dancer, and the concluding saga, The Wandering God, will be out later this year. It is available at mirrorworldbooks.com, amazon.com.ca, Barnes & Noble, Chapters Indigo, and any other online bookstore you can think of. More evolved and stuff.
Oh, you even got monitor on.
Yes.
Are we talking too loud?
Or bass, or too
I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, or whatever. So how you been?
Good.
Yes. I basically want to get you on the podcast for a couple of reasons. The first thing is,
I remember When Words Collide at the open mic when I literally murdered a song.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was bad. It's okay.
That's the whole point.
Yes, it was. But I watched you perform, and it just dawned on me. This is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to actually have you on the podcast. You don't get thanked enough. I know that might sound like a really I know that might sound like a really like cheesy thing, but I watched you perform. I just thought this came to my head. It's like, he does all this work. A lot of people probably don't. I'm not gonna say they don't realize it. I don't think they fully appreciate everything you do. So it's kind of like, for me, I just kind of wanted to say publicly, thank you very much for everything you've done.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But number two, you were fun to talk to last time, so if I ever continue the conversation somewhere along the lines, I've actually read more of your books. I'm still going to put the Dairy Queen thing. Yes. So he did a book called Much Ado About Macbeth, and I loved his take on the Weird Sisters. But he had so much Dairy Queen in there. It was just like, now I want to try everything on this menu I've never had before.
Well, the funny part is I don't eat at Dairy Queen.
Yeah. So why did you use Dairy Queen?
It's, when I write, it's very organic as to, what makes sense, what would drive the characters, what would the characters do. And Dairy Queen just felt right. Yeah. Taco Time might have come in a close second, but, Pizza Hut would be definitely out.
Mm-hmm.
It just, organically, it felt right to do the Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Plus, I was able to use Poisonberry.
Yes.
So,
fair enough. It just, I read this as, this is really, I think it was hilarious. You had a lot of fun writing them, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I had the first few scenes workshopped, everyone wanted to see more and more and more of the witches. And so I ended up adding more witch scenes than I intended, but I think it worked out fine.
Actually, it was really good. There's a small part of me hope you ever go back into that universe in some form or fashion. They're there again. They would.
Well, they would have to be. They stole the show. So.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, I really enjoyed Much Ado About Macbeth. It was a lot of fun, and goes back to your your love of drama, performing, and stuff like that. Would you go back to that world again?
I don't have a story in mind.
Yeah.
But you never know. The book, over a year later, is still doing very well.
Yes.
I went to Vancouver 2 weekends ago and it sold out. I was at Indigo signing today. It sold out on the table. It's still doing very well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really good book. It's my favorite of all your stuff. Although I do have a bit of a soft spot for Capone Chicago. That was a lot of fun too.
Well, Capone Chicago appeals more to men.
Yeah.
And the Much Ado About Macbeth appeals more to women. Not that either gender won't like the other book. It's just, the gun-toting maniacs.
Yeah.
In Capone Chicago, that's very much a thing that men enjoy.
Yeah, well, it just felt like almost like an old school, legitimately an old school heist kind of story. And it was like, that's fun. It was just a lot of fun to actually read it. And again, another. Are you going to do more independent stuff as time goes on? Are you going to be more hybrid, I guess, for lack of that's the word?
It really depends on what my fans want. I get emails from fans saying what they enjoyed and what they'd like to see more of. Just now you told me you'd like to see some more of certain things. My focus right now is actually on a mystery series because my Murder at the Mall story generated so much feedback just on a little short story that right now that's where my focus is.
So you were talking about the area you're working on. The first book's the draft is going through the expert process.
Yeah, well, the way I write my books is I like to write things that I don't know, and so I will do a lot of research. Not as much as some people do. I know David Morrell, when he did Murder as a Fine Art, he spent 3 years researching before he started writing. I don't do that.
No.
But I do a fair amount of research because I like learning new things. But even then, once I reach, the story is kind of done how I figure the story is going to go. And before I polish it, I send it off to experts on the various things I'm trying to include. So that's where that manuscript's at right now. It's out with some experts. Kicking my butt generally is their job.
Well, which is not a bad thing, but actually, cool question then. Not spoiling anything, what's the neatest thing you learned doing this novel so far?
So far, well, I think the neatest thing I learned is I do include First Nations in the novel, specifically the Chippewan, which is kind of a blend of Inuit and Cree in northern Alberta, Saskatchewan. And in doing my research, it was really interesting to me how much mythology varies among different First Nations tribes. I wanted to use the Aurora Borealis, and so I did the research of how Chippewan feel about the Aurora Borealis, which I think is mostly Inuit rather than actual Cree or Sioux or other types of other nations. Mm-hmm. I think I didn't study Inuit, so I can't say for sure. But I'm going, I kind of get the sense that they've kind of inherited some of the Inuit aspects of their interpretation of the Aurora.
Which would make sense, because even though there are different tribes, at some point certain stories would just they'd interact with each other, and people would take for what they like and discard the rest. Makes total sense.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The other thing is vision quests. Was interesting. That if you're ever watching anything on television about Native Americans, they always send the kids off on the vision quests and whatnot. And my research, and again, I'm still getting this verified. My research says even though the Chippewan have a strong tradition of spirits, not so the vision quest. Mm-hmm. And so I actually use that with a nice line, which I'm not going to repeat here.
No, that's fair enough.
Regarding that, and again, because I'm sending it out to experts, someone will come back and say, well, no, you can't actually say this because it's the opposite of reality. That's the type of stuff I look for when I try to get my facts checked.
Which is what you're supposed to do. Yeah. So let me ask you this for all the other novels. So it's cool to have things grounded in reality. I mean, obviously there's a certain degree of embellishment. Where do you feel that line is there should be in a story?
Well, because I'm writing commercial fiction, there are certain expectations, and probably the best example here is the opening of this novel involves the Calgary Police Services, and of course the protagonist is a ex-cop, private investigator, pulled into a homicide. And I'm going, the first thing he's going to tell me is that private citizens cannot get involved in homicides, which of course was the first thing that the Calgary police came back with, saying, this never happens in real life. And I go, I realize that, however, it does happen in every single private investigator story, whether it's in print, in film, in movies, television, it doesn't matter. That is basically what the genre is somebody outside of the police getting involved in a homicide.
Absolutely.
And so it's a reader expectation, and so you have to have it, even if it isn't real. I make a lot of fun about forensics in the book. I do the abbreviations for the Calgary forensics team and the RCMP forensic team, and then the CBC forensic team being the CSI, and the differences. And the takes on the three teams, one being the television one, which isn't real.
That should be hilarious when it actually comes out.
Well, again, like everything I write, it is got a lot of humor in it.
Yeah.
It's soft-boiled.
Well, which is
detective, which is not hard-boiled.
Well,
it's supposed to be light and sometimes ridiculous. Is the expectation of the genre.
Which is, well, it's by caveat. I mean, you're trying to solve something a policeman can't solve, or the police can't solve for whatever reason. So yeah, I mean, it should be fun.
Well, no, again, in real life, the police can't solve it. It's just the point of view character of the story gets pulled in somehow.
Yeah, always.
Usually against their better judgment, which is in the case of my PI, Peter Galloway.
Nice.
He gets pulled in against his better judgment, but of course it's a beautiful woman asking him to get involved, And so that's the only reason he does it.
Like, what the things I do to impress a chick. That should be the title.
That's hard-boiled.
Yes.
Yes. The things I do to impress a woman. Yeah, that's hard-boiled, which is not what I'm writing.
No.
Hard-boiled is generally depressing, and I prefer to write uplifting type stories.
There are not enough of them out there, to be honest with you, especially in that genre. It just there should be more of that. So I hope it does really well for you when it comes out.
Well, I hope so too. Again, it's based on people reading the short stories, saying I want to see more of this PI.
Yeah,
and it better be a novel. A lot of people said it better be a novel. One person said it better be a series.
Nice.
So and so when I thought about the character and who he is, how he got where he is today, and where he should be going, I'm going, well, actually, yeah, this is a series.
Well, that's good though. So I asked you, you've been doing more long form and not, or it seems to be anyway. You've been doing more long form stories and less short form. Is that going to be? Is that going to be the way it's going to go?
Oh yes. I wrote short form when I had a day job, and I started off writing novels, but it was taking forever.
Mm-hmm.
With my day job, my other activities, trying to get a novel done was impossible. And so I started off with short stories, moved on to novellas, because I was able to increase my productivity, get more bang for the buck out of a writing hour. So I was able to move from short stories to novellas. I wrote and sold 7 novellas. And then as soon as I retired from the day job, straight into novels.
So this is where you're going to stay for the foreseeable future.
I like long fiction. The longer the better. I really like epic, giant books.
So I guess we're going to see it. Are we going to see it like an epic fantasy or epic sci-fi series from you someday, or are you going to keep it in mystery for a bit?
I'm going to give mystery a try. It's a larger field than speculative fiction, and so I'm hoping again larger readership. But I'm hoping at some point to be doing both. I do have a urban fantasy series that I've conceived and I've done some scenes for that I would like to continue with, but I may be doing them both in parallel once I get going.
Which is not a bad deal when you get that deal. I should mention when words collide, since you are a big part of that. You're coming into your 6th year this year?
7th year.
Wow, yeah. So it's growing. It seems like it's growing every year. Is that
we've been moving to larger venues to allow higher attendance, and we're kind of in the largest venue we can go to right now, and we've upped our cap next year to 50. So it's at 700 next year, or is it 750?
Probably 7. It feels 750. It feels that way.
I think 750. Yeah. Don't quote me on that. It's up 50 over last year.
Okay, that we can quote you on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, because we went by, do we feel crowded? Do we how many seats are taken during the programming? And it looks like we can have 50 more people. We give seats in shares, butts and seat numbers to the hotel to let them know how many people we need to have seated. And they're thinking of getting additional chairs.
Good.
Yeah. So.
It's honestly my favorite event I do every year. It's fun. It's actually organized. Some of the other conventions I do don't have quite that same. This is what's going to happen. This is where you're supposed to go, and people will be there to help you. Here. I'm sure it's a lot of work to get to that point, but
it is. And most of these types of events, there's a lot of volunteer work. Ours is 100% volunteer work, and so it's very, very hard to pull anything off. That's well organized when people are volunteering their time. They all have other things they need to be doing. That said, I have attended a lot of business conferences from my past day jobs, and they're no better organized than the volunteer ones. And so even if people go, gee, everything didn't go right and this is confusing, it doesn't matter if you're paying $40 or $400 or $4,000 to go to an event. They're all like that. We are very fortunate that we have a lot of really good volunteers here in Calgary that are making it look professional.
Well, honestly, it's nice. Like, okay, I've done other conventions. There's one convention I go to. There's literally like what I call an elevator of doom. I mentioned this on other podcasts.
I seem to remember you saying elevator of doom.
Yes, yeah. I've been in that situation. I still remember a very large convention I went to that one year. Nearly the fire department nearly shut down because they kept selling tickets long after.
Oh, I know which one that is.
Yes. So these are some of my convention experiences where when I go to your show, I don't worry about any of that. It's like this is going to be here, or this is going to be here, or if something comes up, something else is there. It's actually incredibly well. By far the most organized I've ever seen.
Nothing is perfect, and our whole attitude is to roll with it, which is what really helps.
Yes.
You know, if something goes wrong, it's just look around and say, well, so what can we make do?
Mm-hmm.
How do we make this work if something went wrong?
Which is a testament to the convention and the people running it, and not just yourself, but definitely yourself as well plays a big part. But I noticed you found, like I said, we talked about this really quickly earlier. You actually got to go and do the karaoke. Are you actually able to do more stuff now? Has it gotten to that point where it's a little easier for you?
No, oddly enough, back when I was working full time, there were a couple of years there where we'd go out once a week to a pub singing. Then I just got too busy to do that, and even retiring from my day job, I'm still too busy to do that. So what we do is we invite some friends over here once a month to sing here instead. Because it's a smaller number of people, you get to sing a month's worth of bar stuff in one evening here. So it all balances out.
Nice. Yeah, like I said, I know you. Like I said, I'll, if I ever show up one of these things, cool. I promise I won't sing again.
No. The whole point of karaoke is for people to go out and sing and have fun.
Yeah.
It's not a professional venue.
No.
There are zero expectations. If someone's having fun, they're successful. If they're not having fun, then it's not successful. And that's the only measurement.
No, it's fair. It's fair. And I just can have fun with myself too. You gotta try different things, and that's pretty much it. So. This will air in December. Is there anything coming up around that time for you?
Well, the winter months quiet down.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I just plan to do a lot of writing and festival planning over the winter. It's kind of funny. I do go to other conventions and festivals, but not in the winter. Even if they exist, because driving in the winter is bad. There's one in Washington I would love to go to near the end of January.
Yeah,
and so I'm not going. I mean, I
understand. No, it's like convention-wise, like November to February just feels like the end of November. You might get away with it depending on where you're going.
Well,
but once you hit that point, it's done.
Edmonton had a convention in early November. And it was iffy going. We got caught in snow. Bad weather where you're going, this is stupid. Why am I driving? This is dangerous. I shouldn't be doing this. They're now moving to the spring. Yes. Which is nice. I haven't seen the dates yet. But
no. Is it the one we went to?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I would love. No, I'm kind of curious what they're planning on doing actually. Yeah. So.
Well, I was hoping they'd announce something this fall, because they're usually in the fall. This is the first year they've skipped to start in the spring.
Yeah.
I was hoping instead of their event, they'd actually have the announcement of
or somewhere anyway
of everything that's going to. And I haven't heard anything yet. I do love to go to Edmonton because they're our close neighbors, and regardless of how beneficial their convention may be to me, I want to support them.
No, it's fair. I actually am going to be doing a little bit more business in Edmonton in the pursuit myself next year, because I've got a bunch of things that seem to be coming to a head, so we'll see how it all works out. So, but yeah, no, I enjoyed the convention. It was small, but it good people, really good people there.
Well, their event, and this is pure spec.
Yeah,
we're talking about. It's been highly variable, and I don't know if it's the choice of venue or the amount of advertising they do, or just the amount of information in advance they do.
Yeah.
I really think if you don't have information out ahead of time, that it really hurts attendance.
absolutely.
And I do know that last year attendance was down, but they didn't even post the program until like 3 days before it started. And I think that hurts.
Oh no, absolutely. Because no one knows what you're getting at that point. I mean, it's like I could advertise and just something I'm doing, learning real quick. I watch podcast somewhere, but if I have no guest or anything like that, people are gonna be like, "So what's he gonna do?" Right? And that's a fair question, right? And as a consumer, and at conventions, like, what's great? Who's going to be there?
Yeah, and you're planning your time, your calendar, and it's like, they haven't announced anything yet, so it's off my radar, and then you forget about it.
Yeah, it happens. And like I said, but hopefully next year, they'll come out with a bang. I'm hoping that's what you can hope for.
Yeah, well, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they're doing.
I'm
going to be up there, seeing what I can do to make it all work.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll see talk to them myself at some point. All right. Beyond all that, if people want to get a hold of you, how would they do so?
Oh, well, it's really tough.
Really tough?
Really tough.
Okay.
It's randymcharles.com.
Ooh.
And for email, it's randy@randymcharles.com.
Really hard.
It's tough.
Really hard. Yeah. And at Twitter is @RandyMcCharles?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay. Have you gotten into the Instagram yet?
I have not gotten into Instagram. I haven't figured out Twitter yet. I'm still trying to figure out how it works. So Instagram, I guess that's next on my hit list.
Ice cream and Bailey's. It works every time. All right. One.
And with that, we are done this podcast. I want to thank Randy McCharles very much for everything he does. You should definitely check out Much to Do About It Beth, his forthcoming mystery series, and if you really do get a chance, you're a writer, you want to really, really, really expand your knowledge on the craft, you want to become a better writer, you definitely should go to one of these. If you want to become a better person, I can say this. Sorry, I just got a little laugh. A friend of mine just sent me a very funny Facebook text, so I don't know how I'm doing this. But it's funny. You meet people, and again, it's really easy to take people for granted and what they do and how they do things, and because they just quietly go about it. And Randy's one of those guys. He makes it a lot of fun to be a writer in the Calgary community, and I think all of us here should give him a huge thanks for that. So Randy, once again, thanks for all you do. I wish you nothing but the best when it comes to your books, because you deserve it, and he really does. Beyond all that, if you don't want it, I'm actually going to recommend Capone Chicago. Personal favorite of mine. I love Alternate Earth. I love the fact that this is Randy's indie book, and it is so much fun. He does a really, really good job of creating these fun alternate universes. He's got a bit of a quirky sense of humor, and it comes out in different ways in each book. This one's no different. Al Capone is obviously factors into it, as does, of all things, Geraldo, which is really, really, really fun. You should definitely take a look at his stuff. All right, that will do it for Just Joshing. Thank you very much for your support. If you would like to subscribe to this podcast, you can do so on Podomatic or on iTunes. Just click on jpantaleresco.podomatic.com, JPANTALLERESEO, or just click on it and subscribe. That'd be great. Or just go into iTunes and do it. You can find me at Just Joshing, and you'll find me up. You can check out my books. The Watcher and Storm Dancer are currently available. The Cloud Diver is coming up real soon as well. And the conclusion, the other book I've done this year, The Wandering God, will be out in the fall, which I can't wait for. I even got another surprise or two in store before the year's up, which is great. Let's see, anything else I can talk about right now? No, that's it. All right. Oh, and one last thing, if you want to keep up to date with news and information, we'll go with this, but then we'll leave this and then before we go. If you want updates on news and information, you can check me out at tinyletter.com/jpantaleresco, JPANTALLERESEO. If you want to sign up for my newsletter and find out what kind of my insights for how things are going. All right. That'll do it. Stay inspired. do good things. Right now, like the biggest thing a lot of us have to accept are just some things you can't control. But you know what? Sometimes they really just don't matter. Whatever you feel inside but you need to do it and do it well. Because that, in truth, is basically how you leave your mark and is how you do good things in the world. A lot of things go on that are beyond our control. It's just too bad, but it's just the way it is. But we can control how we react. So I encourage you all, do the things you're called to do. Those are the things you can control. All right. Stay inspired out there, everybody. Have a good one. I'll be back this Friday with Beth Wagner.
Josh.